Yo, what's going on, everybody? We back at you again with another infamous Tie Fridays. The second, I can't say annual, with the second weekly Tie
Weekly,
Friday.
yeah,
We back in this
yeah.
thing. Ty dude, uh, Byron, I think he's out. I don't know. I think he's having a gold driveway paved for his driveway just so he
Oh,
can park.
okay. Yeah.
So his Cybertruck, I mean. So that's what Byron's doing. But me and Ty here, we're gonna give y'all the best we got. Guide to real estate invest in 2024, the master mindset. Ty, what's going on, dog? How you been throughout the week? What's going on with you?
Hey, man, I'm in here, man. I'm all about that mindset stuff. So what's good with you?
Man, you know what we are, man. We really trying
Yeah.
to lock something up. Like that's what I'm trying to really go push it as far as just getting more deals. I really want.
Yeah.
I think right now a lot of people got a lot of stuff going on. I know you naturally you got a lot of different avenues that you work in. You got the trucking side of things, you got rental flips, etc. I I want to focus heavily on wholesaling and like getting buyers, providing them value, and then also
Mhm.
getting homeowners that need to sell, connecting with them and providing them value. That's what I'm working on now.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I'm doing this. I'm pretty much doing the same thing. So the trucking for me is just like the thing I do. I treat it just like a 9 to 5. Even though I got my own truck and all that stuff, I treat it just like a stepping stone to help me
Yeah,
fund, make me fund what I need to fund, and pay my bills and all that stuff too. But that's my main thing. Trying to just get better at like wholesaling, get better at helping people who need to sell and helping people who want to sell, since we know what we got going on now with
yeah,
the new way you're going. So
yeah,
people who want to sell their property and don't want to deal with like real estate agents and stuff like that, I'm trying to
for sure, absolutely. But yo, we got Jade Cross in the building. What's up, Jaden? Jaden said, "What's up, family?" Jade, again, we always talking about Jade. Jade is a dude. He one of them dudes, young dude. He said, "I'm gonna do this." And I'm like, Jade, we can do this, but you gotta go hard. He said, "I'm gonna go hard." He ain't just say that. He been proving it, and he been going hard. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like one of them cats. It's just like when you interact with them, you know. So I'm saying so. Um, we actually got a deal. Jay got his first deal locked up off the PPL this past week, and we really been working on this deal, trying to turn it not necessarily into a novation, but like you said, Ty, we trying to get the property listed. Actually, just to get some eyes on it, just to get some more eyes on it. We actually today was able to get all the paperwork that we needed signed, power of attorney. In fact, notice that we're listening. We set the expectation with the sellers. We making moves out here all because Jaden decided to take action. So shout out to Jaden, bro. Shout
Hey,
out to
what's
Jaden.
up? Hey, that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, again, to the point of he's one of them cats. It's like he's a young dude. It's not about he don't got like a real estate uncle or family member. He just working, putting his bread up, working and investing it. He got the right mindset. You know what I'm saying? He got the right mindsets, that hungry mentality. Gotta stay hungry. And so me and you, Todd, that's something that I wanted to talk about while we on here. Me and you like really big on, I mean, I know you on it for sure, just like mindset. We talk a lot about books. We talk a lot about what ways of thinking. Maybe sometimes we might get trapped in a corner of a certain way of thinking, how to get out of that to move to the next level. Or we might have things that's really been working for us, like certain mindset attributes that have gotten us where we're at. And we like those and appreciate that about ourselves. So I would say I want to ask you too, being somebody who does not just real estate but trucking, and you're a full blown entrepreneur in every sense of the word. You're an entrepreneur. What are I want to talk first, and we can go deeper into like real estate stuff. But what are some basic principles that you notice that whether it's real estate or trucking or just whatever you do, like these are some principles, mindset wise, that keep things rocking for me, like at a high level.
I would say the main thing is your word, standing on your word, like
Yeah,
knowing where you got to be at, knowing what you got to do. and completing
Yeah.
the mission. The mission is still the mission.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, for sure. um, I can't hear you.
Yeah, something happened. I got muted for a minute, but I was saying the
You good?
mission is still the mission, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Like being able to, like, just like in trucking, if I know that I gotta be somewhere at a certain time because they require me to be there, I have to do it. Even if I feel like it, even if I don't feel like it, I still gotta do it. Same
Yeah.
thing in real estate. We gotta get up here and do the cold calling, the texting, however you doing your marketing. When you don't feel like it still gotta be done, it's still gotta be. You don't have to do it, but
Yeah.
it has to be done some kind of way.
Yeah. That's a
And
good point too.
yeah, and that's where that mindset come in with, like far as like, when we get into like doing business and stuff like that, when you get in the beginning, some people, we all feel like we have to do everything because, for one, we can't afford to pay anybody to do anything else. The second thing is we feel like nobody can do it the way we
Yeah.
want it done.
As good as I can.
Right.
Yeah.
And they can hinder you. They'll only get you so far until you start realizing, learning that, man, delegation and being able to like leverage your time and your skills to others. That's the thing that makes you grow and scale.
Absolutely. And you did on the money. I mean, those are principles that, as far as I know about just general business, that those things are always true. Like if you gotta, we both read the E-Myth. I'm sure the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Check that out if you haven't.
Yeah.
But that's one of those ones that if I got a pie business, if I got a restaurant where we flip burgers, if I got a trucking business, if I got a shipping company, whatever, in the beginning, it's your responsibility to make something out of nothing, and you got to wear so many hats. And as you evolve, it's hard to let go. You got to let go of things, just like a baby. Like when you have it very much is like a baby or having a child. I've never had children, so you could testify. Correct me where I'm wrong at, Ty. But it's just like in the beginning, your baby's gonna need diapers. Your baby's gonna get nursed. Your baby's gonna need you and rely on you for everything. But as time goes on, if that isn't, as time goes on, if that isn't, yo,
he just called me too. I couldn't figure it out.
Hold on. We on live, right?
Oh, my bad, man.
Nah. Say what's up. We was telling everybody, man. What you was getting that gold driveway paid for your new Cybertruck that you haven't delivered.
Yeah.
Man, stop, man.
Bet.
Okay.
Lock in. Yeah, but it's like a child. It's just like your baby in the beginning is extremely reliant on you. And if you couldn't be dependable for your child, if you couldn't do everything that your child needed while it's a baby, you would probably be a bad parent, so to speak. Like if you weren't changing his diapers, you're neglecting it and not feeding him, clothing, everything. But as you get older, if you don't let your kid grow up, if he's 14 still wearing diapers, you know what I'm saying? If you ever see them kids, it's like 7-year-olds still on the, on their mama's breast or whatever, it's like what's going on here? So at a certain point, it's like your business is like that. It's like, yeah, in the beginning, you got to be the guy who opens up shop, gets the bread ready, puts everything out, serves everybody, does all this, counts all the numbers, does all of this and that and this and that. And then at a certain point, if you don't allow your business to grow and become its own thing, its own entity separate from you, then you're really neglecting it. You're stopping it from growing, and you're not a good parent at that point, right?
Right.
So that's absolutely a major point. And something else you said, because I've been working on this too, is just doing it. Like you can't neglect it, and especially at all levels of it, you're gonna have your own responsibilities. Like you got to show up here. Even as you start to delegate more tasks, I still have my role in the business. And as I bring people on, it's just like I still owe them. Like I got to show up. If I stop myself from cold calling because I bought cold callers, it's on me to follow up with their leads. Though I can't be neglecting their leads because then they're working for nothing. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly. So
you got to show up, and that's just the sum total of anything that you do in life. You can't make noise. Honestly, today, Ty, I did not feel like calling those people asking them to list their property. I was like, oh goodness.
Yeah.
And me and Byron was talking about it. We was like, man, we need what paperwork? I was just like, man, forget it. Nothing. Us talking about it ain't gonna do nothing. I need to call them now. I need to call them right this moment. Like before I figured everything out, before I knew exactly what I would say or how I would go about it, I need to jump on that. I need to jump on the phone and call them right now. So taking action and showing up for sure.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah. So by doing that, I'm guessing you by doing that's the deal that you said y'all had got locked up today. Exactly.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? The results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines. I got a lot of favorite lines from 10X Rule, but one of his lines, he was saying, I think he was talking about like, I want to become a millionaire. He was breaking down the thought process of action takers and doers. He was just like, you got to say what I want to do, and then what I got to do what I want to do, right? And so I want to become a millionaire. What can I do? I could call Warren Buffett today. And it's just like, pick up the phone and call him. And he says this line, he says, he's not going to take your call because you think about it. He's going to take your call because you called him. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, it's like you can do all this planning. A lot of newer people would ask me stuff like, before you make the call, how long do you like analyze the deal before you call the person? None, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. You're not going to get the deal because you analyzed it. You're going to get the deal because you called the seller and you had a conversation with him at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And so it's about taking that action muscle, building it. And so what are some times in your business where you notice like having to take action? I know you said you got to show up. Was that something you always had, or was it something that developed over time?
When it came to real estate, it's something like I had to definitely develop because it wasn't there when I first got into it. As far as trucking, well, I spent 7 years as a company driver at first, so I just implemented everything I did over there. As far I didn't really do anything different over here as far as that, and as far as being on time, I mean, that's pretty easy because I don't like being late, so I always leave a extra 2 hour earlier than I need to anyway. And then I know I'm gonna waste time on the way there. I'm gonna stop, maybe go to a truck stop, get something, coffee, whatever. So by the time I get there, I probably be there. I should be on time. But as far as real estate, man, yeah, it took something. It really took time to develop because when I first, well, I'm gonna say wholesaling, because when you're buying rentals, and that's what I started with buying. When you buy rentals, that's kind of not like a people thing. Well, I guess it can be, but I mainly just had the money. I put the money into buying the house, and then my wife pretty much did. I just threw everything out at her, like, hey, find the contractors, find everything else, and I didn't have to do anything with that. But when I came to like wholesaling, it got different because like you have to actually contact people, got to contact sellers, you got to contact buyers, and I mean, just the first beginning of me wholesaling, the first thing I did was I used to run out at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and put out bandit signs, and I felt like a criminal doing it. You know what I'm saying? It felt horrible because I'd be out there like trying to make sure nobody see me because it seemed weird. And then I was listening to Bigger Pockets, and they was on there talking about how, you know, us dirty wholesalers out putting out bandit signs, making the city look bad and stuff. So I just gave up on it. That's around the time Byron was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna start wholesaling."
Yeah, man.
So that was like 3, 4 years ago. But eventually, when I seen Byron doing how he was doing it, they came and gave me that proof of concept, and then I just did everything. I didn't know about none of the systems. I didn't know about I thought everybody just was just calling random people and say, "Hey, you want to sell your house?" And then I didn't know anything about marketing, leads, none of that stuff. So I followed like all of Byron's first videos before I ever asked him anything because I knew him, but I didn't want to call him, but be that guy. So I'm like, I'm gonna watch his videos first, and if it's something that I can't understand, then I'm going to call him, ask him about it. So that's what I did first, and that's kind of. But when I did it and then followed the rules, came to a meetup, start using launch control, got a first deal. I mean, he was like, man, this is it. It works.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. And I like that you said that because you said a couple things that I knew, but I never really thought about. Like, I know that really that taking action is like a muscle. It's something you got to build and develop over time. Yeah, just like anybody. Sometimes people are naturally more gifted. They got better triceps than the next guy, or they just got better quads, or they just got an area that they gifted in. But for the most part, you do have to develop your muscles. But you spoke about how, like with trucking, it was probably more of a natural thing that you could take action to. It was it was growing, but it was still within your comfort zone or something you understood, right?
Yeah.
But with wholesaling real estate, that's something that was outside of your comfort zone that you had to learn how to take action more
Yeah.
readily, right? And then
Yeah.
also another thing you said was when you pointed out that wholesaling was one thing, but then flipping, or excuse me, looking at rental properties is totally different, because it really, truly, it is. Like,
Mhm.
I love to use the blanket statement of real estate investing, because if you're really looking at it, you should have your mind open to all these things because they're all beneficial, right?
Yeah.
And it's all in the service of real estate and people. But the way you put it, it's like I can see like rentals are definitely analyze the numbers and like you know that, and that's why a lot of people like they got this one seller that's actually, I'm texting right now, and they're like, yeah, they got this property and they was looking at it. I think they bought it because it was within the 1% rule, but they didn't analyze like that area. You know what I'm saying? Like they could buy a property for 100,000 and rent it out for 1,200. They're like, oh, that's a steal. But it's like, where you at though? You know what I'm
Where
saying?
you
So,
at though? Yeah.
and so I think a lot of people in the rental space understand that as long as you're within the bounds of good taste, it really isn't the same. Like you don't look at like people and stuff like that as much. I mean, you got to think about your renters, but as far as like analyzing the deals, having the money for it, stuff
Mhm.
like that. But regardless of what you're doing, you're going to have to build up. And that was the point that I wanted to make as far as mindset, and a mindset that works today or 2024, 2023, 21, 1987, 2050 is you got to be readily available when it comes to your business and showing up for your goals, your dreams, your lifestyle, and that requires you to take action, comfortable or not comfortable, right?
Right.
Jay has a good line right here. My favorite 10x line would be when Grant spoke about making success your obligation for you and your family.
Like that.
And so you got to be able to I think connect it with something bigger than just like connect it with something bigger than just like, oh, I'm gonna make some money. I want to buy a Cybertruck.
Yeah.
That's why you get cats when they first get into like start to go in this lane. They're like, how much money does it make? How much? It's like, yeah, I mean that's an important question. But like, dude, if I tell you that the sky is the limit, you can make an unlimited amount of money because it's about how well you can do this business.
Yeah.
Right? It's about how well you can show up, how well you can decide what you need to show up for and what you don't need to show up for, how well you can execute on ideas, how well you can go into your mind, figure out the idea, articulate it to yourself, and then bring it out into the world. Like Caretha when she did a block party, a community outreach to get 2 deals off of it. Like, no, we wouldn't have thought of that readily. You know what I'm saying? Like how well you can be, how skilled you can be at this business, you can make an infinite amount of money. So, you know, you get in this business asking how much money you can make, unlimited, all of the dollars. It's about other things that you need to be asking, like, what do I need to bring to the table? People come into it at, that's like when in marriage, and I'm not married either, Ty, so you can let me know, but in marriage, it's just as much about, if not more about what you bring to the table than going to the table saying like, what can you do for me? What can you do for me? It's like, I need to be considering like, what do I offer and what's my job? And if I'm thinking like that and you thinking like that, you know what I'm saying? And their partner thinking like that, then from there, it's going to work. So it's,
Yeah,
and
just like a team. Yeah, like a team trying to win a championship.
that's perfect. That is perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We all trying to
So
win a championship. We all trying to get to the next level. We all the same thing we do with the mastermind. Win the mastermind, we all trying to come together to figure out, okay, what such and such is doing. Oh, I didn't never thought about that. Let me see what I can do on my side. And then I have something that going on. Hey, I tried using this. This would work for me. And you know what I mean?
yes,
That kind of thing. And we come together. So yeah.
man, absolutely. And so I think dude, I mean, you for sure know. I did want to ask you though, speaking of another point, what are some books that you read, that you have read, that on your real estate journey, like when you was making this interest in the real estate, that like helped you improve on all the skills that you saw you needed that you lacked?
Right. I remember the first book that gave me a light bulb. Well, the first book I read that kind of got me really into real estate was the ABCs of Real Estate by Ken McElroy. I think that's his name, something like that. That's the first one I read, and that got me wanting to do like skip single family, all that, and go straight to multifamily just off that book. It was that good. It just the first deal I ever put a contract on was a 5-unit, and I was doing it with a partner, and we spent about 7 months on just that deal from the time we had it under contract to the time we walked away from not getting it.
Oh man.
And it was just a journey. So from there, I felt like maybe this is a little bit too much for me. So I went to reading the Burr book, or Long Distance Real Estate, and the Burr book at the same time. They're kind of similar. And I did everything in that book as far as buying a property, adding value to it, and then refinancing and getting all my money back out of it. And once I realized that worked, it was easy to keep doing. I just did it slow. So I did it like every 6 months until the interest rate market changed. But if I would have had the mindset I had now, I would have been like buying like all kind of them. You know what I'm saying? At the time I was scared, so I just wait till one finish, do the other. Wait till one finish, do the other.
Yeah. Dude, those are some good points. But that right there, Byron's not around, so I'm not afraid to admit this right now. There were times where I look back like, dude, I should have just went full throttle, but I was still somewhat new, and like there were different phases in my career, but I was new. I was working with a team, and then I was working solo, and then I had to like relearn things, and I could have went harder, but I was scared. You know what I mean? Now I got the mindset. The market is different, which is why we talk about 2024. But I realize it's just like it's not about the market; it's about the mindset. And if you know that, I don't really have that. Like I remember, like I had a dude call me earlier today, and he was just like, "You guys keep calling me. I told you not to call me." And I try to explain to the sellers, like, "Listen, everybody who calls you isn't me. I'm not the only, like, sometimes they think that all companies that call them is one person. So the first time you call them, like, I told you guys yesterday. I'm like, what? I didn't talk to you yesterday. What are you talking about? We didn't look through your system just to be sure. Nowhere near. Like, but he's like, if you keep calling me, I'm going to sue you. I'm like, okay, listen, I'm not going to call you. Bye. Have a good day. But I remember back when I first was like going solo, dude, if somebody said that to me, bro, matter of fact, I was like, I guess I should say preemptively trying to like limit myself so I didn't run into that. Like I was just like, I don't want to go too hard. I don't want to go too hard because if I go too hard, then somebody might, threaten to sue me or something like that. Not even get sued, but just get threatened to sue with like ruin my whole day. I mean, nobody wants that, especially when you don't got everything figured out and stuff like that. But it's just the point that I let anxiety really rule me and make a decision for me. Anxiety is like a fear of something that hasn't happened and it might not ever happen. Nobody's you holding on to it as if it's already happened to you. Like, for a fact, like, dude, who said that was gonna happen? Like, you believe it like it's law, and that doesn't necessarily equate to truth. Your mind can easily play tricks on you in this business, right?
Yeah, so definitely.
You also got to be, in all business, you got to be fortified. You got to be solid mentally, just knowing like, dude, listen, that's why I'm so big on setting the expectation. When I set my intentions, I say things like this. I have a goal to do more deals so that I can help more investors find their deals, and I can help more sellers who need to sell their property and get out of their predicament. That statement alone, if that's my goal, if that's my mission statement, I have no fear. I have no fear going forward because I know my intentions are pure. My heart's pure. Everything that I'm doing is with the intention to serve. And I realize that people will get mad. You know what I'm saying? People got mad at Jesus Christ. They're going to get mad regardless of what you're doing. You could be like, man, I want to be they mad at LeBron James. People be mad at LeBron. They hate LeBron James as if he does but he played basketball. They be mad at LeBron like is the president killing other countries or something like. He just played basketball, y'all.
Yeah.
So people gonna hate regardless, but you got to make sure your intentions are pure. And if you're okay with it, moving forward with speed, you got to be moving forward with speed, heavy. You know what I'm saying? Like for sure. And so fear limited me before, but as time goes on, I'm like, now 2024, if you're gonna be afraid, go get out of this. You got to be willing to go, because you got to go. You have to go 10x. You know what I'm saying? You have to go 10x.
You have to.
How did you? I mean, did you have fear in any other regards in business and doing anything else? And have you overcome that? Do you still have fear sometimes? What's up?
Well, yeah, like when it comes back to the trucking thing. So before I started buying property, I had tried to scale my trucking business. So I was wanting to do real estate, but I thought like, okay, let me scale this trucking business. So I immediately went and bought like 2 trucks in the same week, like back to back. So I had 3 altogether. The one I was already driving, and then I bought like 2, like the same week. Yeah, 2 semi trucks all in the same week. Like I bought. So the situation was, I was going to buy one, and I ran into another one, and the one I wanted to buy, I couldn't buy because it was having a title issue. So I was like, I'm not going to wait. I'm on this 10X stuff. I'm not going to wait for that one. I'm going to go ahead and look for another one. That one comes up, I'll buy it also. So I went ahead and found one in Jacksonville. I flew to Jacksonville on a plane, got the truck, and drove it right back. And then when I got back, the other guy said, hey, I got the title thing straight. I was like, well, since I gave you my word, I'll come buy that one too. In my mind, I'm like, hey, I can just put both of these trucks on the road, make money. I mean, like, it should be easy.
Yeah.
So by me doing that, I put one of the trucks on while I was driving the other one. And I made the mistake by putting the first truck on somewhere that I had no idea how the operation ran. I just kind of thought everything was the same. So I put it over the road. I didn't have control of what shop it went to when it breaks down. And I'm one of the kind of people that I felt like the driver's driving for me. So I'm obligated to make sure he gets paid, even when my truck's broke down, because it's my equipment. And he didn't ask to so he's not like, he works for me. So I got to make sure he still gets paid every day, even if the truck's not running. So I'm doing that. I'm paying myself. And when my truck break down, I'm taking care of it. So within a span of like 9 months, I probably burnt through like $40-something thousand. As far as payroll, mechanical issues, whatever, everything. So, before you know it, lost the contract, one of those trucks. I ended up selling both those trucks, going back to doing what I knew, which was doing it myself, and just focused on me in the truck and making sure I got that money back. So I went back to building my money back up. But while I was doing it, I still had some money left over. I went ahead and bought my first property because COVID just came in. I'm like, I don't buy it now. I ain't gonna never buy it. And shoot, I just lost this 40. I mean, what's 30? What's 30 buying another house? So I spent 30 on the house and then spent another 38. Spent 38 on the house and spent another 30 fixing the house up. And it's hoping that this birth thing is real. If this so, I should be able to refinance and get all my money back out.
Yeah.
That was like, hoping, and it worked. So that's kind of how, but that's by losing that money that I didn't want to lose, that I couldn't expect to lose it, because I never lost any money like that before. Or burning through it, it gave me that risk tolerance. Like, well, I mean, hey, I've already did that, so what's the worst that can happen in this? So that's kind of got me rolling. You know what I mean? So it worked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's like it's trial by fire. Like some lessons we can read in books, and then some lessons you can you learn by living life. But it's just like you got to grow in some areas, and some areas you grow by being spanked. You know what I'm saying? Like likewise, I had a couple. Like I had several different situations where I learned from just losing money, like get some money, invested into a market. Like when we invested into Facebook, it's just like we had just closed a deal, and then I basically put like I can't remember I don't know. I can't remember. Probably like I don't know how much was that. I would have to ask.
Talking about what the thing Byron had did with
the Facebook thing.
The ghost color guy.
Yeah, exactly.
That guy. Yeah, I think I don't know. I think I remember what it was. It was large. I remember.
I think it was like 5,000 to get in. Like, but it was just like after that you were spending on the marketing and stuff monthly. So I'm like, I can't remember how much over time like we actually spent on that to get like, I think we closed 0 deals off of that. But it was just like I had closed the deal, and then this was in a crazy time in the market where it's just like, dude, other stuff was going slow. So I was hoping that would like open the door for a lot of deals was coming.
You know what? Going back to that situation, I remember when Byron was talking about y'all doing that, and Keith Thun was telling y'all not to do it. It probably was better y'all giving Keith Thun that 5,000 or whatever it was, and get him to try to set it up or something. Because I'm thinking he was like, man, you can do it yourself. And Byron was like, man, I ain't gonna do it. And I was with him on that too, because I'm the same way. Like, I know I ain't finna do something. I ain't gonna do it. I'm just gonna pay. So I'm gonna pay it, delegate it. Hopefully this works. If it don't, it don't. But I'm thinking now, probably would have been better to get with Keith and be like, yo, man,
dude, we should have gave Keith that doggone money, boy.
Hey, show me what you're doing.
Dude,
it's like that's kind of what
money to be. It was just crazy, but Byron was sold on it. But I don't, because that was like a couple things. One, that certainly wasn't the first time I had like that's kind of been my like story. It's like as soon as I get some money, I'm trying to put it all into some type of marketing. And where I mess up is I put it into something new, and it just like I always get spanked, but it builds up my risk tolerance because I'm like, listen, you survive, you'll survive, you'll be there, and you grow more resourceful, you grow more faith, you're more courage in yourself. Like, okay, I can fall to the ground and get back up again. But also that was our introduction into like online. And so from there, we made the adjustments, and that's how the PPL movement that we got going on today and the deals and leads we get from that started from that. That was like the intro. Like we didn't know what we didn't know. So we had to get into it however we got into it. And so, I certainly had no clue whether this guy would be the guy or Keithon would have been the guy. I wouldn't have.
Right.
I wouldn't have known.
I'm with you on that though. That risk tolerance thing is so important. That's when people think. See, I know people and I have friends who are very conservative. They don't like step out there and try a lot of stuff. They kind of. My mom's the same way. Like she kind of like she gets good at something and she's good right there and she's happy that way. And I used to be the same way. Like I used to be the person that was just like, hey man, I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna stay out the way. I'm gonna get something. And I'm gonna, But it's when you start, social media, you start being around other people that are like making things happen. You're like, well, they draw blood just like me. And if I just put my effort into learning this thing, I can figure this thing out too. And then you try it, and then you try something, and then you get a little good at it, and then you accomplish it. Next thing you know, you feel like you do anything. And that's kind of where I'm at now, where you take losses, and then it's like, hey, I tried it. So, what's next? Keep on like what would Grant Cardone do? You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And you realize it's really a level. Like I used to hear them talk about on Bigger Pockets all the time. They would almost evaluate it into the deal, just because I like how they are always trying to give the person like all aspects of it when it comes to giving advice about anything. And so they would say, well, it depends on how much money you have to invest, what ROI you're looking to get, and what your risk tolerance is. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like in my mind, I'm like, what do you mean? It depends on what your risk tolerance is. I would imagine like, I'm thinking like, and how much money your ROI, like doesn't everybody want an unlimited ROI, infinite ROI? Doesn't everybody want to like, it's risk, like everything is risky. Why doesn't, and as I grew and I went through those situations, I started to understand, okay, I understand what it means by risk tolerance. And me, honestly, me being a younger dude, I really had no idea of what risk was. Like I had no cognizance of risk. It wasn't about having a higher tolerance. I just didn't have any sense of consequence that I could face for the stuff that I would do. Like, and so as I started to experience it, and going through like all of this stuff and learning and failing, it's just like, I realized like I do have a risk tolerance, but I grew it over time. And I was just like, it's levels. It's like, you think Grant Cardone is like worried about getting a multi-million-dollar, like if I got a multi-million-dollar multifamily deal, I'd be like, oh my goodness, what are they gonna do to me when they find out I can't afford to buy this right now? What are they gonna do to me? Like, what are they gonna say? Like, oh my goodness, it's like Grant Cardone gonna be like, I'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
Figure it out. That's the mindset.
You know what I'm saying?
That's all about that mindset.
That's what the building your risk tolerance is absolutely necessary, because you have to get uncomfortable, and Grant Cardone says in a 10X rule, you're going to have to put your he said yourself, your business, your family, all the team members that you have, you're gonna have to put everybody at risk when you go for it big. It's risky. Honestly, I'm not saying, hey guys, just throw all conviction to the wind and like don't consider anything. That's why we bounce ideas off each other. That's why we got our mastermind group. That's why we connect, keep our ear to the streets. Right. You got to always be learning and educating yourself. But you know, at some point you do got to just take action and take the guy who knows everything versus the guy who doesn't know stuff, but he takes action 100% of the time. The action taker is going to get farther than the guy who knows everything for 100%.
That goes back. Yeah, that goes back to like, so a lot of people, when they talk about risk, they talk about like, the main thing we talking about is losing money pretty much. We talking about like the risk. We talking about like money we lost. But, you know, people who have vices or people who, you know, like toys, like vices, toys, cars, you know, whatever you spend money on that you're never going to get back, but you're going to get the hobby, you're going to get the toy. But we never look at those things like, oh man, that was a risk buying that car that lost value. It's like we wanted it at that time, but you're not gonna have the same feeling about that thing you bought 6 months, 6 years down the line. It's just gonna be like, I want the newer thing. So a lot of times that's like my mindset. It's like, you know, I can buy a set of rims for like $5,000 to make my car look good, or I can use this $5,000 and put it into some kind of marketing thing that I know, like, I may not make $5,000 right away, but that 5,000 could turn into a 50. You know what I mean? Or, you know, or 500 if I'm, you know, borrowing to somebody. So, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's kind of how to look at it. I know it's going to eventually give me that learning curve that I need for the future, and you thinking long term versus like right now.
You are dead on the money. But I want to get off. Let's answer some of these or hit up some of these comments. Yeah. Jay asked, "Hey, Cordero, was Amy talking about something when you reached out?" Actually, I did not reach out to Amy. Jade, I did not reach because we were working on trying to get her an offer or whatever. And I'll call her back. I'll reach back out to her once we get off of here just to touch base. But I think we're actually, I'll explain. We gotta really get an offer. But Jay said, "I'm the only one in my family or anyone I know that cares about real estate." Likewise, bro. Well, no, I got an uncle who really put me on, but you know, he comes from the streets. I'm talking about he come out the streets and he made that transition, and that just like rubbed off on me for sure. I feel like a kid just learning to take his first steps. Humility and passion is the way. For sure. For sure. The CEO, yeah, Jade, that family ancestors talk is what fuels me, man. If you think about our ancestors, every hour they worked, every step they took was to get us where we are. We all got great grandparents. We all have great grandparents, man. That is so true, CEO. My great grandmother, my maternal great grandmother, just passed away yesterday, I believe. Yeah, it was yesterday. Oh, and that's one thing I was thinking about, just looking. She was 85 and had her. I mean, her progeny, she had probably about like 100 people that could be there that came from her. Like, you know, all her kids, her grandkids, kids, you know, so on and so forth. And so, yeah, I do think about it. I always show respect to your ancestors. I always show respect because without them, you wouldn't be here. Even if your family and your environment didn't breed the mindset of success that you have today, even if you got to be the first person in your family to be a millionaire or an entrepreneur, still respect what it took to even for them to even survive, for you to be alive to make that decision anyhow. You know what I mean? They sacrificed their lives for our family we never met. You know what I'm saying? I used to be a big, huge fan of Maya Angelou, and I still am, but in high school and after high school, I would write poetry, and I really like Maya Angelou. And she had this one poem where she discussed how we tend to talk about some people, like some of our ancestors, like some were Uncle Toms, and how could they just take it? And you know, we look back at some people like, man, if I was a slave, I wouldn't have took none of that. I'd have did this, man. If they'd have talked to me like that, I'd have done this. It's like, but we don't realize just the fact that somebody bit their tongue and took that sort of treatment just to stay alive. just so I could exist, so I could have a chance, or just so Ty could live, so he could have a chance to own his own trucking company. He's got one grandparent that just was humiliated and didn't say anything just to stay alive, just for a chance to, So I'll never forget that. Definitely something to think about. We tend to think about, I want my kids to have this, I want my future to have this, but I just think a lot of the stuff I do is to honor the people who came before me, right? Because speaking of mindset, it's just like it's got to be about something bigger than you. And I think like I don't want to waste nothing, you know what I'm saying, that I got, for sure. Exactly. That is why I honor to serve greater purpose for future generations. Again, absolutely, Jay. For the future generations, we all think like that. And the past, just acknowledging them, honoring them, whatever they do, for sure. And Ty, you got kids, bro. I mean, you got kids and a family and everything like that, right?
Yeah.
How many kids do you have?
Just one son. He's 17.
Dude, I be forgetting. That be tripping me out. Ty got a whole 17-year-old, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, Ty about 27. Me and Ty about the same age. That's crazy. But Chicago girl, Southern mom. Whoa. Whoa. We got a real heavy hitter in the building. Heavy hitter in the building. Thank you for blessing us with your presence. Hey, Cordero, what market are you currently targeting? That might be Byron. You know what I'm saying? That might be Byron behind a different.
I was looking at that. I was like,
that might be Byron behind a different account. But either way, I appreciate it. So, listen, that might be Byron. Look, the market I'm currently targeting. We all over Georgia. We all over Middle Tennessee, but Bedford County, Tennessee, Shelbyville, Tennessee. But if you're from there, we say Shovel. All right. Shelbyville, Tennessee. And the CEO, he says Middle Tennessee. Because last time he was like Middleton, Georgia. No, not Middleton, Georgia. Middle Tennessee, though. But we are all over Middle Tennessee, but Shelbyville, Tennessee. That's a small town. Right, if you know anything about Middle Tennessee, you might know about Murfreesboro. You might. It's south, one of the next major cities south of Nashville, right? But it's a nice suburb, nice area, nice schools. But off in the country, you turn off that interstate, the next city you gonna hit from Murfreesboro is Shelbyville, Tennessee. If you know anybody, if you hear of something, anybody who got a property in Bedford County, let me know. All right. We're trying to find deals there. We got buyers there. We have investors there looking for their next deals, and we want to help people out. And I'm from there. If you got a deal there, you just need somebody to go walk it or take a look at it. Let me know. I got you. But that's a good question. What market are you in, Ty? Like, where are you looking at again for the people? Let them know.
I'm over here. Everything on the outside of Atlanta. So nothing Fulton County, nothing down in the city, but everything on the outside. So that'll be Douglas County, Paulding County, Henry County, DeKalb County, everything but Fulton County, pretty much. Everything on the outside of that 285 line. I also do South Carolina, upstate South Carolina, anything in the 864 area code. A little bit of Columbia.
I got deals in different area codes. Are you doing anything in South Georgia?
No, not yet. But hey, I got somebody down there, so I wouldn't be opposed to it. But now I don't even know a thing about South Georgia besides what Byron's told me. But yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to doing something down there. You
got any deals in Shelbyville, Tennessee, Bedford County?
Nah, I wouldn't be opposed either because I know you there. So hey, I'll work anywhere I know somebody at.
If y'all pull a list, CEO, RIP to every property in Bedford County, dude. Hit them up. I ain't even wanna. No, don't hit them up. I just play. Hit them up.
Hey, do you not mess with anything like? I know you're not near Memphis, but you don't go through that Memphis area. I know that's probably a little rougher, but you ever try to tap in there?
No, I mean I've gotten a couple of, like the PPL. They'll send me a couple of deals. I know a lot of folks, like a lot of my family, like they like. Interesting, on my dad's side, a lot of the women in the family, they married men from Memphis. Like, so I know like a lot of my family's from Memphis. Shout out to my Uncle Mike, you know what I'm saying, on the barbecue. They grilling bologna out there, Ty. They grilling bologna. But I don't know, dude. It's just over there. It's like the difference because Tennessee is like long like that. It's like the difference between up here and South Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
up North Georgia and South Georgia. Like
got
that's
you.
you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'll be
Yeah.
over there. Memphis, I mean, you can get something off of Memphis. I've been there. I've been to Memphis one time in my life, and it was just recently, actually. Like with
Oh
this,
wow, that's wild that you live in Tennessee. You only been in Memphis one time. I've been several, but I've only like
yeah,
I've been several just because I've been in the truck. Because I
yeah,
started like there's a Swift terminal in Tennessee in Memphis, and I used to go there all the time. But right before I came off of being over the road, I stopped in Memphis, and I was like, this may be my last day over the road, and I may not get this opportunity anytime soon. So I'm gonna
yeah.
go visit Graceland. And I went to visit Graceland. I think now they're
Oh,
trying to sell it, so I'm glad I went ahead and got it out the way.
yeah, I mean, I ain't even really, I ain't touched down, I ain't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? I went there. I actually went there for a little church event, and then I got up. I went there, got right up out of there, dude. I'm talking about I got out of there as fast, and it wasn't because it was just so thugged out. Like it wasn't even because obviously, you know, there's gonna be good parts and hood parts everywhere you go, but it was just a
Yeah,
simple fact that it's like, dude, I really wasn't even trying to sightsee or nothing like that. I'm just trying to
yeah,
get there and take this long behind drive all the way back. But yeah, Jay, I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, absolutely. Um, man, rest easy to the queen, Cordel's grandma. Sorry for your loss, bro. That was long, a beautiful life she lived. Yeah, man, 85. That's the way you want to go. You know what I'm saying? That's the way it was supposed to happen. And you know, within my mind, are you ready to host it? Middle Tennessee, I keep thinking you Georgia do too. Nah, I mean, like I'm here. You get me a deal at Georgia, you know, we can get it off one way or another. But you know, we ain't too far. We not too far from Georgia. Middle Tennessee, we like right there, right above Georgia. RP all the phones, boy. RP all the landlines, all the text messages, all of that, dude. Y'all get a deal in Bedford County. We getting it off, man.
yeah,
But Ty, what are some other books, man? Because we always talking about books, dude, and you
yeah.
already, you know what I'm saying, you always got the heat. And again, this is about mindset. And I wanted to tap into a side of the mindset that we don't usually talk about, like talking about fear, overcoming fear, or you know, embrace it, like working out that taking action muscle, how it could be easier to take action in some directions, but in others, you just gonna be uncomfortable. What are some other books that you feel like I wouldn't say niche, but you don't hear them like everybody talk about Rich Dad Poor Dad, 10. We talk about 10x all the time. What are some like, oh man, this was low key. I got a lot of heat off this one. I think everybody would benefit from that.
Oh man, so I would say, um, one of the books I would say is the Tim Glover book, the Relentless book.
Oh,
Relentless and Winning. Those two, Relentless mainly, but Winning can go along with both. But Relentless, it puts you in that Kobe, that Michael Jordan, the way you see there's a difference between those two and then everybody else. You know what I mean? Like they just they operate differently. So that book helps you understand that in a way. I would say that's
yes.
a slept on book. I would say that Who Not How, that's a slept on book. People don't never mention that. I think me and you don't want to talk about that book. But
Dude, that
Who
low
Not How, man, that book has kind of messed me up in a way because a lot of times I'm like always trying to figure out who I can get to do something.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that
dude.
book's a killer. Right now I'm reading Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. That's a really good book. I mean, that's a good one that I'm reading. I'm reading it slow to kind of really understand that thing about, delegating that time and having someone else do, you know, like tedious things that we really don't need to be doing. Like I shouldn't be spending like an hour trying to like sort my calendar out. Like
Yeah,
that should be something I should delegate, that kind of thing.
yeah.
But it's a good book. It's like, I would say any John Maxwell book, any John Maxwell book, have books about attitude, has books about leadership, books about like
Mm,
relationship. Like he has books about everything. So any John Maxwell book, I would say those are really slept on. And then I'm trying to think of something I've read recently, man. Because I read a lot, but it's so much. Like I said, go back to like I said. Oh, I also read biography books. So right now I'm reading
yeah.
Elon's book. He has
Mm,
some Elon, a book that someone else wrote for him, but it's his book.
Yeah.
It's long, but it's really good because it shows you. Like a lot of people don't like Elon, and I can see why. But Elon, the way he is, he's kind of just like Henry Ford. Henry Ford, they told him that I think it was the V8. They were saying it's impossible to make an 8-cylinder car. He was like, figure it out or go home type thing. And they figured it out eventually. So now they got 12-cylinder cars. Elon's the same way about like, you know, when he has an idea about something, he don't want to hear this can't be done or it's never been done. He wants you to figure out how to get it done. And that's just like a mindset, an attitude. And he'll go broke trying to figure it out before he like not want to do it. So that
Yeah.
it's like I said, it's that mindset thing where I like reading that book. So yeah, man. What about you? What have you been coming across as far as books?
Dude, those are some really good ones. Those are some really good ones. I had Jay read Relentless, and I'm like, I'm about to go back and read Relentless. But some slept on ones, bro. I think, and you hear this a lot, but not in the context. To me, you don't hear it a lot in the context of business. Like I only heard it about like one real estate agent, but how to win friends and influence people. Like, dude, just go read that book. It's gonna get you in the mindset of service. And at the end of the day, however you want to put it up and down, the core of business is serving and it's providing value. Every people have a need and you need something. And so if I could provide, I don't know if you heard of this issue. They popping fireworks, bro. I had flashbacks back when I was in Memphis that one time. But just being able to think in a service mindset, open up your mind to different people's perspectives and like not being angry and just thinking of thinking in terms of being diplomatic about things. You know what I mean? Like being more diplomatic about stuff that you do. So definitely how to win friends and influence people. Don't sleep on that. Another book, Creative Selection by Ken Conscienda. Ken Conscienda, he was a part of Apple in his heyday when they had Steve Jobs. I think before Steve Jobs had I don't know if he left or got fired. I'm pretty sure from Apple the first time, and then when Steve Jobs came back, I think Ken Conscienda was a part of it. But he was a part of the original design team, which did the iPhone. He did the keypad for the iPad, and he also Chrome, Apple Safari. He was the original. He was on the original, one of the first 3 people who designed the Apple Safari, right? And so the whole book, Creative Selection, is how Apple does their thing. We know Apple is a Ford company. We know Apple is likely a company that could last over 100 years, over 150 plus years. That's pretty rare. Even the biggest companies throughout history, they don't last over 100 years. You know what I'm saying? Like even McDonald's still hasn't hit a 100-year marker. We think of McDonald's like McDonald's could still not make it to 100 years. I think Apple is one of those companies because they never get old. They're always redesigning their products and they're always producing new material before we can get bored with it, before a competitor can catch up. And one key thing that it talks about in the book is how the point was to take technology and make it connected to the user, right? Whereas some people think if it's complex technology, there was a time when you think of technology, you're like, oh, you got to be a genius to use it. Apple's whole mindset was how do we take complex technology and make it everyday usable for people? Creative Selection is about Apple's mindset. What are some things that they do every time they have a new idea? How do they bring it to life? Like if I just say, hey, Ty, I got an idea of like a time travel machine that also delivers food. So you can get food from the past and food from the future. Like that's the idea. Now, how do we go about like from blank, bare nothing to creating that and making it a reality? Like that's crazy. You got to think when they talked about touchscreens before they had touchscreens, that was insanity, bro. Like that was like not real. And so it talks about what mindset you have to be in, how to collaborate with the team. And it brings up interesting points about creating things from scratch. Like you need to be able to communicate with your team and to be able to say, I'm sorry if you make a mistake. You need to be open to criticism. You need to be able to have a demo, like little stuff that you wouldn't think about, but they're very practical and pragmatic. So creative selection is just how to truly grow a business. Also, I mean, the 10X Mentor, but we talk about that. I'm trying to find some slept on things. I also likewise love to read biographies and autobiographies. I read Nelson Mandela's biography, The Long Walk to Freedom. And likewise, I think, dude, I'm telling you, I think you should just, everybody who wants to do something big, you need to study the mindset of these great people throughout history. Read biographies, read autobiographies, as many as you can get your hand on, because these people tend to have a lot of different facets that are in common, right? And in my personal opinion, I think we can always measure Elon Musk's success because it's monetary, and we can say he made X amount of dollars, so therefore his success is this or that. But I don't think you can really weigh up what Nelson Mandela did for an entire country. Like how many lives after his life gets affected by the changes that he committed and lived. And I didn't know a whole lot about Nelson Mandela, but as I read through the book, his life it's actual South African history. Like his life is history. Like he was born into like somewhat of a royal family in Africa, like a royal tribe or whatever. And then he evolved, but you learn little things like his persistence, his willing to take action, his commitment to the movement. Like you got to be committed, and how he had to drive, how he was willing to do things. You talk about Elon Musk being willing to go broke. Nelson Mandela went to prison for 30 years just off of his political beliefs. You know what I'm saying? Mm. Sat in a prison and that was powerful. Because like I said, you can't really quantify how many people he affected. But I took that mindset and I applied it to like just how committed you have to be to business, just how committed you have to be to, doing whatever it is you want to do. You got to be willing to like go broke. And I love that Elon Musk quote when he talks about how his rockets blew up like 3 or 4 times, and he's just like, I don't ever quit. I don't never quit. I love that quote just because it's just like you got to have that mindset for sure. So those are a couple books that I think probably wouldn't normally get talked about in the context of maybe how to win friends and influence people. But dude, yeah.
Hey, what about I know another thing we talk about a lot is like the guys we follow on like YouTube or like podcasts or people with YouTube channels like like Ben Mala or Alex Hormozi. What are some other guys that you like I guess follow online as far as their content?
That's a good one, but definitely Ben Mala. Dude, you know what? I'm really into it because now, I mean, like I like to read books, and I really am like still on like Alex Hormozi, and I'm gonna be like more like doing like making a video or whatever. So I don't really like go like follow the basic like how to wholesale, because I'm learning now like that is really just the basic stuff. Like I need a little bit more complex stuff. So a lot of stuff I need is from books or like our actual group. And I'm just blessed to be able to talk to you or talk to a Caritha or a Keithon or something like that. That's really where I get a lot of my fuel. But what I am doing is like the book, the biography of Nelson Mandela. I try to make a point to get something about life outside of direct like real estate wholesaling business. And honestly, I watch a lot of like not just sports like UFC, like we all tap into it. Like you can get into that Mamba mentality and bring that into your business. But I watch a lot of fighters and their mindset as far as training and their training philosophy. Like, right. Like I'm going to the gym a lot more and I'm trying to get off into that. But I don't know if I'm naturally doing it or intentionally doing it, but I'm trying to make the parallels between how they apply themselves mentally and how they think about, because if you think about like a Tank Davis, he's like a Grant Cardone. Like, now I think Grant Cardone is like a Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? Like he's more of a Floyd Mayweather type guy. But
Got you.
all of their principles are still the same. That's one thing that I'm looking at. Like, okay, what's the high level guy doing in basketball? What's the high level guy? I don't watch basketball, but like in boxing and UFC fighting, what are some things about their mindset? And I'm not just watching the fights or watching the sport for entertainment. And I'm actually trying to seek out whether it's via podcast or just their mindset. Like Ed Milet, he likes to, he interviews a lot of these guys and stuff like that. Get into their mindset and get behind the scenes where they talk about like all the sacrifices that they had to make to like really embrace that championship mindset. Like it was all or nothing at one point. It was, I had to sacrifice this and I gave it all up. And so that's what I really tune into, because now it's like, it ain't too much. But I do watch some commercial guys, like just like a guy I just found, he's like doing commercial real estate. His name is Henry Eisenstein. I just realized that he's got to be, but his name is Henry Eisenstein. He's a commercial real estate agent. So I'm rocking with him because I'm going to get my license. I'm trying to learn some stuff about commercial. But what's some stuff that you on now?
Lately I've been looking at a lot of Dan Martell stuff. Like, see, when I usually find a new book, I usually dive into that author, depending on who it is, and just start devouring their content. Alex Hormozi and Layla. I look at both their stuff because they both.
No, I'm on their stuff for sure all the time.
Yeah. They like every day they have like the best reels because they take a minute, make a whole lot of stuff sound good.
Yeah.
Of course, let me think. That I've been on like lately, mainly that. One thing I've been doing is I've been taking, like, let's say if there's a book that I might want to read or don't have time to read, they have like these people who create mind maps of the book.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And I I'll go through that and I'll start it'll help me kind of like understand something better. Like looking at a mind map, because people have mind map pages of certain books, and I'll go on there and I'll like do that. So I've been doing a lot of that lately. How do you go about, like, I guess when you're going over something, you're learning something, how do you like do you like take notes? Like, do you like go back and replay it, write it down, and kind of like analyze it, or you kind of like just do it all off the top of the head, or what?
That's a really good question. So there's two ways I usually go about doing it. And one is if I'm really trying to get it and I'm trying to get it all the first time through, like I know what things I can be doing. Like honestly, I have a place that I go walk to. Like right up the street from my house. It's this place called Oakland's, and they have a lot of different oak trees. And it's just like this park, but they have a lot of oak trees. And I'll go there, and at a certain time, like if I could be isolated, I'll go there and I'll listen to the book, and I can just really lock in, and to where I don't have to take notes. Like I can try to consume it all the first time around. Like, right. Or here, like when I'm doing stuff, I got certain things that I'm doing that I can like actually listen to and actively listen to the book. Mm-hmm. And what I'll do, you ever read something, like whether you listen to it audibly or you're reading it visually, and you'll get through it and you're like, wait, what did I just read? Right? What did I just hear? What I'll do is I won't allow myself to go. If I feel like I skipped it, I'll go back to the last thing I remembered actively listening to, and then I'll start back over until I get it. Like, and I'll usually do that by the chapter, right? So that's if I'm really trying to lock in and consume as much as I can the first time. But I don't always do that unless it's like something new that like we're trying to do listings and novations. So I'm really trying to consume that right now in the moment because I need it out of necessity. So I will do that. But for the most part, my favorite thing to do is I just listen to a book like multiple times. And I mean it, like and what I'll do is like when I'm working out, I listen to the book instead of listening to music. I listen to the book and I make it a part of just the ritual. So that way, when I listen to it, obviously I'm just committed. I know I'm going to listen to it like maybe 3 times if it's an easier book, like Alex Hormozi, $100 Million Leads. I probably listen to that 3 times. I need to listen to it another 10 times at least to get every little gem that's in there. But every time I listen to it, it builds a mental map in my mind of like, okay, I know what sections of the book. I know what to expect, so I can know what to lock into, what I've heard before, what I haven't listened to. And that's kind of my thing, because if I take notes, it just creates more reading. I mean, but
Right.
I've done that before, so I try to, but I think I really learned this recently. It's just like what I'm trying to do is rely on my mind to contain the information, right?
Yeah.
And I try to connect it to a practical experience, depending on what it is. So those are the two ways that I'll try to go about consuming content. I either like lock in and like I have to get it on the first go. I won't let myself pass, or I just kind of committed to just make it a leisure thing where I'm tuning up the crib, I'm listening to it, and what I tune into, I get, and what I don't, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get it on the next time around.
Yeah.
How do
I've
you
been like that too. Like I've took like like for example, like Traction. Like I've read Traction several times. Right.
Yeah.
I've read Traction several times and got different things the times I've read it. Like now, if I read it, I'm really understanding a lot more. But like even like I remember when I was on a plane coming back from Denver, like a 3-hour flight. It took me probably those 3 hours to get through the 20-minute first chapter, just because I was writing notes as I was going. Like I was writing the notes, going back. And like I was like after I got finished, like I had a whole thing of notes. I'm like, dang. Like, and that's the thing I need to start back doing more so is like I always had this issue with watching. I like watching movies, but if I watch a movie one time, I don't ever want to see it again for like 20 years.
Dude,
like,
me too. Until I forget what it's about, so I can
exactly. And I'm like, oh, I can watch it again because I'm not gonna remember that such and such died or killed or whatever happened.
Exactly.
So when it comes to books, it's a look. I can read a book over because I know I'm like this is gonna help me. But sometimes I be thinking, man, I just read that book, and there's so many other books I want to read, and I'm taking the time to read that book again. But I need to get into that mindset of read it again because you don't have it all the way, and that's what I need to get to. Because I'll read something, and I'll feel bad for reading it over again. Unless I like only time I want to read over again if it's like I'm just trying to burn time doing something. But like if I got time to actually read it, I want to read something new. And I got to get out of like having to read something new because all you doing now is just piling up different things instead of narrowing in on that one thing like the book.
Like that's a good point. I mean, I hadn't really thought about it like that because there's some books I need to go back and read again that I haven't. Like I really have only read Traction maybe like I read it twice and I started reading it a third time and I didn't get all the way through it. And that's like been over the course of some years, right? Or even the E-Myth Revisited. I probably read that like 3 times and that's it. But I've read the 10X Rule maybe like close to 40, like over 30 times, I think. So close to 40. But I read it because it's like rocket fuel. Like it's keeping me. I'm like, I read it. I'm learning new stuff every time. I'm still to this day, like even at 30 times, it's like, dang, I didn't even realize that that's what he was talking about right there. You're going to constantly get new details, but it's fueling an idea that I need to like lock in on. Like the basic premise is forget all the other details. You won't have them figured out. If you take action more than anything you do, you will be successful. If you take action at a high volume more than anything you do, and you do that for a long time, you're going to be successful. And that's why I was just like, okay, if there was one book that I could just take on my business journey and I could lock in on one thing, or maybe a couple different books, I'm like 10X Rule, the Relentless, like, ooh, the Relentless book, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, or the one thing I need to lock in on the one thing. Because when you told me to go back and read it, at first I read it once and I dismissed it. I was like, he ain't even talking about the one thing. But I went back and read it. I was like, dude, silly me. Like I should have, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like some books.
That and the one thing that we always, what's that one quote that everybody always say, that beginning quote, if you could do something that's
if you could do
the necessary or easy or something like that.
Yeah. If there's one thing
when I hear that, I was like, after I go back, what's the one thing I need? Like, I need to do. Like it'd be like one simple thing that I need to just narrow in on, and I'd be like, yeah, that's it. Why am I not doing that? Because it's, they say things can be simple but not easy, or easy not simple, or something like that. When you're thinking about things
simple
like,
but not easy.
Yeah, it's almost like going to the gym is easy and working out is easy, but actually doing it is like that's the whole thing. Like people won't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
understanding the concept is pretty simple. Like you'll be at a caloric deficit, you'll lose weight. But is it easy? No. Is it easy to go to bed hungry a couple nights out the week? No. That doesn't feel good. It's uncomfortable, and practically no. Simple. Like, it's simple to understand that. I would say, honestly, I would say the one thing, if you're trying to increase your wholesales, is literally the one thing: talk to more sellers and talk to more buyers.
That's it.
Like,
those two things right there, yeah.
Talk, and you have to go down to one thing: talk to more people, right? But then when it comes to actually, is it easy to actually get? When I talk to more sellers, that means I'm getting rejected by more people. I'm getting cussed out. I'm being told no. I'm spending more time. I'm mentally drained more of the time. I'm more uncomfortable because I'm reaching out to newer people, and I'm juggling more different opportunities, and I'm talking to more buyers. Again, getting rejected more on this side of the coin, and I'm taking on more. But that's the basic premise. And so that's why I think that's why I need, for example, fuel like the 10X rule. That's what would drive me to read the 10X rule over and over again, because that book is all it's talking about. It's like, turn off the feeling, or something like Alex Hormozi, like, turn off how you feel about it, turn that volume all the way down, and turn up the I'm going to take action volume, and let that speak louder. Like, action, action, action. Then somebody cuss you out, like, don't ever call me again. I was like, okay, bye. Next. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just get locked into that mode if you fueling yourself with the right stuff. But I think when it comes to working on your business, you got to look out and say, well, what you think about what's simple. Like, I need to talk to more people. And then doing it, I need the fuel. That's why I read 10X rule more than I read like a track. You know what I'm saying? I need to read traction more. But
if you had to pick one, or you had to get rid of one, or pick one, 10X rule or 10X mentor?
If I had to, you know what?
Which one? Yeah, both of them are amazing. But
both of them are absolutely amazing. Honestly, I like the 10X mentor because it's like him from his billionaire standpoint, right? And he's got like, just do this and do that. But I'm saying the 10X rule, bro. Ain't nothing, because I think they're not. I don't think that they're meant to like be counterparts. I think the 10X mentor is he even says it's like to build on what he didn't talk about, right? But I think if I had to rely on one, like if I was starting from nothing at all and I had to rely on one to get the mindset to do what I need to do, I think the 10X mentor. And the 10X rule. And I've read the 10X mentor quite a few times as well. And it's great. It's great. And maybe I'm dead wrong because I haven't reached that level. But like, I know as far as what I need now, like what you need to get the momentum in business is somebody's explaining to you how sheer volume of action will get you a lot farther than making a super smart decision. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For sure. But I mean, yeah, dude, we've been in this thing for like an hour and, you know what I'm saying, hour and 12 minutes, dude. We was going hard. But yeah, dude, tell them how people can look at you or hit you up, find you, where they can find you at, dog.
At _ Cashflow Ty everywhere. That's right now is Instagram. That's the only thing I'm on right now. Facebook kicked me off for some reason. I'm trying to get back on there, so you know. So right now, just find me on Instagram at _ Cashflow Ty.
Now I got this right. FOL.
It's _ Cashflow FLOWTY.
See, I'm too thugged out, man. I try to be too. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's going on with me, man. Yeah. I knew it. I see it, but in my mind, I'm just like Cashflow Ty. I see it as I follow you, but
there you go, right there. Yeah. There we are. Yeah.
So definitely follow my guy. Hit him up because he's buying, especially if you're in the Carolinas. What is it? Where is it? North Carolina?
South Carolina, upstate, anything upstate. That's Greenville County, Spartanburg County, Anderson County. Any of those 3 counties. That's the main 3 counties from Atlanta. When you cross through Georgia and go in South Carolina before you get North Carolina, that's everything on that 85 stretch north.
Yes, sir. And like you're buying, he's flipping. He's a cash buyer in that area. Let him know if you got something. Let me know, man. If you got something in Shelbyville, Tennessee, Bedford County, at Cordero Martin 615. If you got anything in the Bedford County area, let me know. I mean, just in Middle Tennessee all over, but I'm looking in a particular place, Shelbyville, Tennessee, dude. Pull a list, cold call it, cold text it. You know, it's getting taken down. It's getting taken down.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, Tie Fridays, we came in, gave it to y'all, dude. I really appreciate everybody. Let's go ahead and give some shout outs real quick, man. Shout out to the CEO for coming in. Shout out to the CEO. It might have been the CEO, Jade for coming in. You know, Jade gonna hold us down. And Chicago girl, Southern Mom. Shout out to you. I thought it might have been Byron sneaking in there, but we'll see. But shout out to the family, man. I really appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be back at y'all again next week, dog.
All right.
Yeah.